Andy Staples put out a graphic of the two super conferences for college football and what it could look like moving forward in the years to come. We have that graphic here.
Yeah.
You want to list off what the SEC would have there?
Yes, I'll start with the SEC and then I'll go to the Big Ten. We've talked about this a lot. It just seems like it's inevitable that we'll end up with two super conferences, the SEC and Big Ten, or as they're known in the media world, Fox and ESPN. So let's go to the SEC. Florida, Georgia, Clemson, NC State, South Carolina, Miami, Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia Tech, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt still sneaks in here somehow, LSU and Missouri, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, which that would be huge in Stillwater, obviously,
Bedlam.
and Kansas State. So basically what this is to me is a pure mixture of SEC, top-level ACC, pretty much. It's just sprinkled everywhere. I think they just combined basically all these conferences. I know it's obviously a super league, but it's not like it's SEC and Big 12, and then it's like Big 10 and ACC. It's kind of a mix. So when you go to the Big 10, you got Penn State, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia, Pitt, Maryland, Michigan, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Rutgers, Purdue, Indiana. It's already disgusting to me. Ohio State, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington, Utah, and Nebraska. Look, trying to guess exactly what team's going to be where, that's futile in my opinion. I like the way that Andy and them did this. The question to me, and because I don't want to go into the strength of the SEC versus the strength of the Big Ten here, is the inevitability of this. At some point, do you just rip the Band-Aid off? Do we just go? Go?
I remember having breakfast with Coach Lloyd Carr, who recruited me at Michigan years ago, and he said, yeah, we're headed to these mega super conferences. And at the time, I mean, this was 14 years ago. It seemed crazy at the time. And now we're looking at this graphic right here. Now, obviously, this would be for just football. I mean, you don't see Duke on here, right, which is, you can't even have that conversation when you're talking about basketball. A couple things, that would iron out is like Virginia and Virginia Tech are in different conferences here, and North Carolina and North Carolina State are in different conferences. You would probably just pair up in-state rivals a little bit better like that. But it is crazy to think. I don't know. I mean, this would get us to what? I haven't done the count, but about 48?
So that's 6, 12, 8 is 24.
48. So 48 total teams vying for one championship. If you had a 12 or whatever they go to, 14, 16 team playoff, something like that, it seems like that is a manageable number of teams to vie for a championship. And then let every other team, every other program, whatever you call them, group of 5, 1AA, whatever, vie for a different playoff and championship. That seems like it's manageable and sustainable.
Yeah, Blaine, obviously this is a college football super league. David brought it up. We're not talking about college basketball. But I feel like we are going to this point. I would bet on this happening. I just look at what the Big 12 has done, right? And Brett Yormark and kind of securing their future. The question now becomes the ACC, right? If you had to guess which conference would be next on the chopping block from a football standpoint, it would be the ACC. But I don't think you can't end up with 3 super conferences, right? You can't have a power 3. It would have to be an even number, right?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Why is Miami?
See, I don't think you get into the nitty gritty of really what team is where. It's getting to this point. Is it something we should just go ahead and get to? If you're going to make it a 14-team playoff, yeah, it's
inevitable. I mean, if we're going to do it, I agree. You might as well go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. But man, I don't mind it.
I mean, let's do it. Look, here's my whole point, and I think you guys are with me on this one. I think you will ride into the mist of Valhalla with me on this one. As long as we keep the regular season at 12 games, right, and you keep the amount of playoff teams under 16, maybe 16 and under. My buddy and they do a good show. Neil McCready and Tyler Siskey was talking about. He believes that a 16-team playoff, because you could take a bye week out, which we'll see if they do that with player safety during the regular season, is the max before you have to start cutting regular season games. Can you imagine a all-conference schedule, right, like we saw during the COVID year, with a 24-team conference, 12 games, that there is no more, New Mexico Tech of the willing and wanted, the Presbyterian, State Baptist, whoever, in that pretty much cupcake week. Now, your non-conference games are as elite as the Chick-fil-A Classic or the Dunkin' Donuts meetup in San Diego or whatever the hell they call it now before. I could get behind that.
I hate it most for programs and fans of programs like, say, a Washington State or Oregon State, Syracuse, even like a Stanford, not finding themselves on a list like this is like, where do those traditional Power 5 schools go in this scenario, and are they going to get left behind?
Is there any way for there to be independence still? But you couldn't. Who's going to schedule Washington State?
If Notre Dame's already joined one of these, then I don't know.
Yeah, if Notre Dame's in there is no more independence. There is no more. The British really won. What's up, YouTube? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We appreciate you stopping by. I hope you'll hang around.